Well, the buzz around baseball is that it's now May. And let's take a look at the power rankings.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade now, and this is my sixth season here with the Locked On Podcast Network, and I am also hosting simultaneously. I'm doing shows for Locked On MLB and shows for Locked On A's. So essentially, you have 10 original episodes a week with your pal Sully. Isn't that fun? Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, or whatever it's called now. And on Instagram, I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And if you are going to be posting anything on social media, make sure you use that hashtag EverydaySully. It helps us get an idea of who is where and what is what. On today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Hey, I haven't figured out who owned baseball yet. I have an idea about a couple people, but let's just be honest. Who owned baseball today? Who was the big hero? The big hero was in Arizona, and it was not the two-run walk-off home run by Christian Walker that I'm talking about. I am talking about the man who came in to save the game, Matt Hilton. Matt Hilton's job was to remove a badass beehive that had grown in the netting. I believe it was just it was behind one of the nets at Chase Field in Arizona, and it caused a delay of the game, and he got it down. And because of that, buzz, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks were able to play. Hey, let's go for the trivia question. We hitters yesterday because we nearly had a double no-hitter. I brought up Burt Blyleven, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher, primarily with the Minnesota Twins, but also pitched with several other ball clubs, had wonderful years with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cleveland Indians, and a couple solid years with the Angels. He's a Hall of Famer who threw a no-hitter. And my question was, what team did he throw his no-hitter for? He bounced around a little bit. What team got the Burt Blyleven no-hitter? Well, my great friend CeCe Pleasants, the phenomenal television writer from James Corden and a bunch of other plays, and it was also one of the co-stars of the independent film I directed, I'll Believe You. She is also a big baseball fan, and she got it right. And just her tweet just says, Burt Blyleven, Texas Rangers, boom. So good job, CeCe Pleasants. Got the trivia question right. A couple of you got it right too, but I gave a shout out to CeCe. Honk, she loves her geese. So every week, the hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network get together and we figure out the power rankings of all 30 teams. Now, these aren't necessarily my votes. This is the result of all of the hosts. Now, you know that there isn't a host for every single team because I'm hosting Locked On A's, but a couple of the shows have dual hosts. So there you go. So this is going from number 30, which is the bottom, to number 1, which is the top. And I'm going to tell you where they are on each of the in the rankings, but also I'm going to tell you if they've gone up or down. So at number 30, down a spot from last week, are the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies are truly terrible. And while they've won a game here and there, and every once in a while we'll put something together, this is going to be a long year in Colorado. It may be a fun year that they may have some young players that they can bring up, but this year is going to be it's going to be a rough one for the Rocks. And they lost to the Marlins today. That's tough to do. How did the Rockies lose this game? They let up 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth to the worst team in the National League. It's going to be that kind of year for the good folks in Colorado, and I feel for you. I feel for you. And which brings us to number 29, down a spot, the Miami Marlins, who for a while took the spot of being the worst team in baseball. Um, you have to go all the way back to, I don't know, a year ago when the Marlins were a young, exciting team in the postseason. Now they look like they're an easy 100 loss team and are going to eventually have attendance issues that will rival the A's. At number 28, you have a team that is in terms of the win-loss record, the worst team in baseball, but pulled off a sweep. So maybe that's why they soared from number 30 to number 28. That's the Chicago White Sox. At number 27, and frankly, folks, I don't understand this. I don't understand why they're this low. The Oakland A's, for the second straight week, are at 27. And the A's just had a series where they split with the Yankees. They beat the Orioles at home, and now they've won the series against the Pirates. Yes, I know all games count, but if they're playing teams not called the Cleveland Guardians, the A's are a winning team. I don't know why they're so low. The Astros, who had a nice come from behind victory against Cleveland, a team that the A's can't beat, but they're at number 26. And Abreu, who's been awful since coming over from the White Sox, looks like he's going to be going down the minor leagues to work out the fact that he has been absolutely worthless so far for your last place Astros. Yeah, the A's are at 27. They're in third place in their division. Someone explain that to me. At number 25 are the Angels, and everything is going awfully for the Angels. The Angels lost a crushing game to the Philadelphia Phillies today, where they let up 2 home runs in the ninth inning to cough up the game. And in other news, Mike Trout is injured and may require surgery. And I know he wants to come back before the season's over, but why? Why? This is going to be a lost year for the Angels, and it's only May. But, you can't lose Ohtani to free agency, Trout to injury, and find yourself looking up at the A's, who don't even know where the hell they're going to be playing. That's a rough year for the Angels. I feel bad for Washington. At number 24, staying steady. They're not moving up or down to the Washington Nationals. Again, a team they do have some talent on that team, but they wound up getting clobbered by the Texas Rangers today. Gray pitched very good. Mackenzie Gore, who is, starting to look like the player that they hoped they would get, but, not a win tonight. The Cardinals are up 3 spots to number 23. The Cardinals wound up splitting a game today, splitting a doubleheader today with the Detroit Tigers. We've talked about it. The Cardinals are a mess. The Cardinals are an absolute mess, and they better start winning soon. Hey, throwing some punches, falling 7 spots to number 22 of the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, you're going to fall a bunch of spots when you get swept by the Chicago White Sox. That's just kind of how it works. And today they got clubbed by the Milwaukee Brewers. The Rays have a losing record right now. It's a lot of time to be playing, but you know what? Maybe start to dust yourself off sooner rather than later. At number 21, staying steady, are the San Francisco Giants. The Giants got shut out by the Red Sox today. Webb did not pitch badly, but didn't get the win. And there's some of the players of that Giants team are just not hitting. There's some people who think maybe Yastrzemski should be cut. And rounding out the bottom 10, you have the Arizona Diamondbacks, who fell 4 spots, the defending National League champs. But they had a huge win today with the Bees out of the way. They came back and a come from behind victory by Walker against the LA Dodgers, but they're still sub 500. All right, so that's the bottom ranking. When we get back from talking about some of our good friends, we're going to be seeing the middle of the road and the teams that are, not sure what's going on as we exit April and enter May. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and Mom, I know you're listening to this podcast. I am going to get you a gift. Don't you worry, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to tell you if it's flowers. I'm not going to tell you if it's something for self-care, which I know you love. I'm not going to tell you if it's a practical gift, but I am going to tell you how you're going to get it. You're going to get it through DoorDash. We might use same day delivery, or we may schedule a week ahead of time, and we will get savings that will make you proud of us, Mom. With a Dash Pass membership, we will save on a $0 delivery fee and reduce service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotals. Other fees, including service fees, apply and terms apply. You too can order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. And don't worry, Mom, you'll get it. You'll get it. All right, let's hear a little bit from our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more than or the less than on 2 or more players and stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. And with playoff action, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best basketball players take the game on a new level during basketball's postseason. Prize Picks is the best way to get on the action in more than 30 states across the country, including Texas, Georgia, and right here in California. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. And right now, you can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. You heard me right. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. Do what it is. In the end, it's that easy. Now's the time to make the switch for all your best sports analysis, opinions, and news. Head on over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you to give you the biggest stories of the day with a fresh point of view. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. All right, we left off at number 19. Down 5 spots are the Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a couple of years. They have too much talent on this team to be floundering around 500. Here they are. They're entering May, a sub 500 team. Again, they got, Barrios is pitching well. They got talent, but they still can't get their nose above water. They're underachieving. They need a new manager. Okay, up 2 spots are the Pittsburgh Pirates, even though they just lost the series to the A's. The Minnesota Twins up 6 spots to number 17. Oh, what a 9-game winning streak can do. Yes, they're playing tomato cans, and sometimes they're barely beating them, but it doesn't matter. When you're playing 9 games against teams you should win, and you win all 9 of them, that's pretty impressive. The Twins have dusted themselves off from a rotten start and are now back in contention. It's easy for you to say, I'm recording this late, into contention. Up 3 spots to number 16 are the San Diego Padres. Machado got a big hit today. Difficult to make what of the Padres. They had a nice little burst a few weeks ago. They slumped a little bit. Darvish won today in a game against the Reds. They're a little bit under 500. We'll see what they are. May is going to be a critical month for them. The Mets are down 5 spots, and the Mets nearly got swept by a floundering St. Louis Cardinal team, and they lost to the Cubs the other day. But today, Reed Foley and company wound up having the come-from-behind victory, and the Mets won. And they're a game above 500, so don't count them out. The Tigers are up 4 spots. They split the doubleheader today with the Cardinals and remain nominally in contention in the American League Central. Someone's got to take the aft thrusters. Hell, it could be the Twins. That's what else you call a 9-game winning streak. At number 13 of the Cincinnati Reds, down 2 spots. Lots of talent on that Red team and not a lot of talent in that division. Be nice to see if they could get on a winning streak to make Jeff Carr happy. Number 12, the Red Sox are staying steady at number 12. They're pitching well. And even with their injuries to their pitching staff, they got a good start from Criswell today, and they're getting hits when they need it. The Red Sox are 4 games above 500, which is better than I thought they would be at this point. We're going to see at the end of May if they're for real, but I like the fact that they're a young team and are able to absorb some stuff. At number 11, down 3 spots, are the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. They've been stumbling a little bit, but they did win tonight 7-1 easily over the Nationals. Gray pitched very well. There's a lot of time for the Rangers to turn around. And at number 10, up 7 spots, are the Seattle Mariners. And do you know what? Winning some great dramatic games like the game yesterday, the walk-off, or another win today, another dramatic victory over the Atlanta Braves today. Winning games that, you know what? No one could blame you if you lost. That's going to go a long way for the Mariners, who are in first place. So that is 10 through 19. So let's go. When we come back, we're going to talk about 1 through 9. Yes, indeed. The top teams in in this power rankings. You know what I'm saying. All right, everyone. You know what it's time for. It is time to talk about Monopoly Go. Now, I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked about that, but there's just too much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome the prizes you unlock. There's so much to get. You get unique stickers that you can trade with friends to complete big albums for big prizes. You can have cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting your friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games, digging for treasure, or a robot Pachinko machine. No kidding. There's always some new timed events that help you win big, massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it for free at the Google Store or on Google Play or the App Store. Game on, it's Monopoly Go. This is a reminder that Locked On has begun the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's available on the Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local extras of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV's channel app. Okay, it's late, and we got to wrap this up here. Number 9, staying steady, are the Cubs, who have taken control over first place in the National League Central. Are they going to win? Well, you know what? Some of the things are starting to click together. KC is up 5 spots to number 8. Kansas City Royals look tough, and they could very well walk away winners in the American League Central. Even if they get a couple of strategic call-ups or trade pieces, they could even go better. Milwaukee Brewers have some fight, and they're going to be fighting the Cubs for the top of the National League Central. They're down 2 spots to number 7. Up a spot after a couple of dramatic victories, including today in Anaheim, are the Philadelphia Phillies. They're at number 6. Down 3 spots to number 5 are the New York Yankees, dropping 2 games to the A's and not looking so great against Baltimore. Will do something like that. At number 4, you have the LA Dodgers, who have a big lead right now in the National League West. And you know what? They're just looking like everything's going to fire in all cylinders. They're going to wind up winning 100 games and people will forget about it. Which brings us to the top 3. At number 3, up a spot, still looking good, are the Cleveland Guardians. And even though they've lost the last couple of games, their lead over the Kansas City Royals has been reduced to 2. They're still winning games and looking pretty dang good. They've won 6 of their last 10 games and are still in first place. At number 3, they're at number 3. At number 2, up a spot, are the Baltimore Orioles. Even though they lost the series to the Oakland A's, They bounced right back and found a way to beat the Yankees so far. The Orioles look very, very good. They can pitch, they can hit, and even with Jackson Holiday not exactly burning it up, they sent him back down, and everything should be okay. They're at number 2. And at number 1, for the second straight week, it's the Atlanta Braves. And even though the Atlanta Braves are on a 2-game losing streak, even when they lose, it's dramatic. This Braves team looks really, really good. They can pitch, they can hit at the right time, and you get the sense that not even all the pieces are working together at this point. You get the sense that not everything's clicking. But even with that being said, they're in first place and at the top of the power rankings. And the scary thing is they may even get better. So there you go. That's another week of your power rankings. And we're going to be covering all sorts of things as the calendar page flips over to May. But it's now time for the trivia question. The trivia question is this. We've had some interesting and unexpected teams win the National League pennant over the last bunch of years. Not counting the COVID year, because they didn't play baseball in May in the COVID year. What year was the last time the team that went on to win the National League pennant was in first place on May 1st? What was the last time the eventual National League champion was indeed in first place on May 1st? That's a trivia question. We got a few commenters coming on here. Ian Milholm says the A's are a fun bunch to watch this year. The back end of their bullpen is absolute insanity. Yeah, it's tremendous. Miller and everything, the rest of them are just making sure they don't blow any games. Jonathan Kern said, just watch the A's highlights that year. For the bullpen is unreal. Yeah, we got to make sure those A's get up into at least into the middle section there. Sully, how are the Mets not the number 1 team needing a World Series win, let alone not top 10? Well, I mean, I don't remember where I ranked them, quite frankly. You could certainly say that the only reason why I hold them a little bit lower is that I would have said absolutely a year or so ago, but they seem to take a step back and say, hey, let's rebuild, which I think was a smart move. When they traded away Scherzer, Verlander, a couple of players, they're like, we're going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild. We went for it. We pushed our chips to the center of the table. It didn't work. Let's rebuild. So because that sense of urgency isn't there for the team itself, they want to build a team for the long run. I got to take teams that are desperate to win a World Series right now ahead of the Mets. I'm sure Met fans would like that, but they say if the Dodgers don't win the World Series this year, it's a disaster. The Yankees not winning the World Series pretty soon is going to be disastrous for them. If the Phillies, with all the money and talent that they've spent recently, don't win at all, it's going to be a disaster for them. There's a couple of teams there that you're saying if they don't win it, there's going to be just absolute bloodbath. The Padres spending all that money and winning a grand total of 1 NLCS game along the way, they got to get something more than that. So that's why I'm putting some of those teams. It has to go a little bit with the sense of urgency from the team. All right, folks. I'm going to be doing 2 shows again tomorrow, Locked On A's and Locked On MLB. So let's cut this one off right now. Hey, follow us at Locked On MLB on Locked On MLB on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Running down the power rankings. This has been Locked On MLB for the first day of May 2024. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.